Hi there, and welcome to this week's Owl Diary. Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm doing some filming with Eva, who is our Canadian great horned owl. She's almost 9 years old. She's currently up the tree just there on the branch making some noise, reminding me that we haven't quite finished yet and there's more food to be eaten, which is how she flies freely essentially for her little treats of chicken that we've got in the food bag today. Now, quick point, I realise this hat of mine is falling apart. Yes, I know, I'm going to buy a new one very soon. I've had this hat for many years, one of my favourites, and I would have not worn it, but today is very warm and I don't have a lot of hair anymore, so it's very important I wear a hat. But the whole point of filming here is because the landscape's wonderful, lovely open countryside, but secondly, today we have got glorious sunshine, pure blue skies, which means lots of light for the filming. Now, the reason we're filming this particular footage is because we want to add more to our stock footage of the birds flying. Last year I came here about the same time of the year actually, and this is the footage I caught of Henrietta, who is our 19-year-old European eagle owl, flying from one perch to another. And the whole aim is to get a shot of the bird taking off, perhaps some shots of it flying across certain parts of the fields, and then a nice shot of it landing, all in slow motion, so we can see all the detail of the feathers and it just looks stunning. And as you can see from these clips this morning, I have struggled a little bit to actually get the shot I want. I mean, Eva's doing a brilliant job flying, my camera just isn't in the right place. So it's not as easy as it looks. It can take more than one day to film, but I'm hopefully going to get everything I want for now for Eva flying. And then we've got some fantastic stock footage to use in our videos on YouTube and things on Facebook and on other videos as well. So I'm going to continue now flying this bird, and these are some of the shots I have captured, which hopefully will look pretty good when they're finished. Well, it's another day and another event, and I'm here in Bradford, the heart of West Yorkshire. Well, I don't know, maybe Leeds is the heart of West Yorkshire. Bradford's the liver, I don't know, it's part of this wonderful county that I'm from. I'm in North Yorkshire, but we visit various places, and we've just done a wedding. We're here at the White Abbey Ballroom, and I'll be honest, from the outside, it doesn't look like much at all, but inside, it is an incredible venue. Very aesthetically pleasing, beautiful inside, all the lighting. In fact, Bailey's found it very interesting looking around at all the lights and the decorations. So we just did a little ring bearer there for the Asian wedding. And if you're not aware, Asian weddings are a little bit different to, let's say, the traditional British wedding in a church, where they have a wedding at a certain time and the ring bearer is part of that wedding. Instead, this is part of the ceremony that's after the main wedding itself, kind of part of the speeches, if you like, just before the meal, and therefore there's never a specific time. But we weren't waiting around too long, just got a little walk around as well, the tables, and we've not done any handling just because there's too many guests. There's a couple of hundred or more, and unfortunately there'd be too much work to do. I think Bailey would get a bit tired, so instead just a little bit of a walk around. I wasn't letting anyone touch him because again there'd be too many hands reaching, but I just said unfortunately we don't touch them at all due to the oils in their feathers, and our hands would remove that oil, of course. You know, if we're doing a handling display, we can sometimes touch them a little bit on the front there where it's quite safe to do so, but not when there's lots of different hands, potentially they started eating, etc. So he's just enjoyed looking around, lots of visual stimulation. Now, a couple of days ago we did have our annual meal out. I was going to show a bit of it. I did try to film a little bit for the Owl Diary, but it was just too noisy a venue, so I wasn't really able to use the footage. But we did have a fantastic time. It's really nice to have a little night out with all the team members Some of them couldn't make it, but most of them did. And I just wish to say thank you again to all the hard work from all the volunteers and other team members who have been helping us out throughout the summer season and throughout the year. We have had a great time. What are you doing, Bailey? I know what he's doing. He likes playing with his equipment sometimes, what we call his furniture. Now, he's wearing the braided dresses here, and sometimes he likes to pull them back and forth. He's not trying to escape, he just likes pulling them back and forth. He doesn't wear them in the aviary, so they're a bit of a novelty when he's on the hand or on display. Right, then I'm going to go now and do a bit more of the photographing sort of work with Bailey here, and then we'll get ourselves home. Right, it's another day in the life of a display falconer, and here we've got Eva again. I'm going to take her for a bit of a fly shortly, and the noises she's making occasionally essentially means give me some more food, please. So that's the communicating we're doing here. Now, if you saw last week's Owl Diary, and if you're a regular viewer, you may have noticed something missing. The usual falconry term of the week wasn't in there. It's only because we had a very busy week at the end of the summer holidays, so we just did a short video putting out that Owl Diary, that weekly vlog, without one. But no, we've not run out of terms, certainly not. There are plenty more. Therefore, it's time for this week's falconry term of the week.
The falconry term of the week.
This week's falconry term is the word manning. Now, this relates to when a falconer gets a new bird of prey, most likely something that was parent reared, or in traditional falconry a wild raptor that they've captured, and they have to turn that bird from a wild temperament bird to a very tame bird that has trust with that falconer. Now, our birds of prey are all hand-reared, like Eva here, who have had since she was 10 days old, and that's very different from manning. Manning requires holding the bird on the fist for a very long period of time. Also, feeding the bird whilst doing this is very good as well, because that bird will learn that this person is fantastic. There can be lots of delicious food, and eventually that trust is gained. And this is a technique that's been used for many, many hundreds of years when training a new bird. It's kind of the first process of doing so. So that's this week's falconry term, the word manning. Now, Eva here is in fact the owl on the back of the van, just here. I think that picture was taken 3 or 4 years ago by Andrew Smith, and he's done a fantastic job there. That's actually part of the picture he did for the Game of Owls, a little feature we sometimes put in our flying shows, kind of a mock of Game of Thrones, of course. Now, I just thought I'd quickly explain these words here. Falconry and mobile zoo. Now, the word falconry, that technically is the art of hunting with birds of prey. So if someone's going to hunt with an owl, it'd be owlery, you see. But the reason we've got falconry on here isn't because we hunt with our birds. Our birds aren't entered, they're not actually used for hunting, they're display birds. That isn't really entirely accurate. However, when the general public hear the word falconry, they think of birds of prey on the fist with a glove, flying back to the hand and that kind of thing. So this is just a way of saying this is what we do with the same techniques as used in falconry of all types, and handling the birds and flying them, etc. This second word here, mobile zoo, relates to the exotic animals that we keep, like the snakes and reptiles and creepy crawlies that we take to school visits and parties and other events as well. And that's kind of the point of the wording there, with a picture of the owl, just to kind of say this is what we're doing. We might decide in the future to change the wording, though, just to birds of prey and exotic animals. We'll have a think about that. Other parts of the van do say that we offer flying displays and things like that. So Eva here, who I'll be flying again very shortly, I coped to beak recently. It's already grown back a little bit. That's kind of borderline. I'm going to just file that down a little bit, maybe later today, and just make sure it's not too long. She is a daytime species of owl. Many are. That's what we call diurnal, and she is quite a feisty bird. I found, in my experience, that the more northern the species, the more closer to the Arctic they are, like the Canadian great horned owl here, and like the snowy owl, and even the gyrfalcon, they do seem to be more aggressive and sometimes more nervous. Now, Eva here, because I've had her such a long time, is a very tame owl, but she does have her feisty side, I must admit. And I'll be honest, there's a little bit of editing here, because she has done a few little moments of baiting, just because she wants to fly to one of these trees and she does that. She comes down for food, a bit like that. And I've just cut them out because I keep going like that every time. And that's just one of the things about working with owls and birds of prey. They are unpredictable. Now, you may have noticed I have now got a new hat. I bought this, I think it was yesterday. And yes, it's a nice blue one as well. So it matches the kind of van and the theme. I've even got a new blue jacket. And, you know, it's getting ready for autumn and wetter weather and so on. There you go, that's the noise she makes, a beautiful hooting sound. She doesn't just make that grunt or that screech or whatever you'd actually call it there. Right then, I think it's time to get on, fly this bird because she's getting impatient and we've got lots to do today. But thank you for watching and please check out next week's Owl Diary.